Welcome back to Entrepreneur Unlimited. I'm your host, Tani Heipel, and today I'm talking about how to finish the year strong and set yourself up for success heading into the new year. Whether you have hit your goals or you've had a few setbacks, I can totally relate. This episode is all about taking stock of where you are, giving yourself grace, and making a plan for a strong finish. We'll also dive into some actionable steps that you can take right now to wrap up the year on a high note. You haven't flunked 2024. There's still time to finish strong. All right, so I have definitely gone through this year with ups and downs and setbacks and unexpected. I've talked about this. This is not new, right? I always try to be very transparent and upfront that business is tough. And things rarely ever go as expected. Always expect the unexpected, right? So when I'm wrapping up the year, I'm thinking about all of the great things that I've done and also thinking about the things that maybe were missed opportunities or I tried and failed at, things that I just didn't get around to or I didn't make time for. And that's really the first step of all this, right? Is taking inventory of where you are right now. So where did you expect to be by this time? Where are you with your timeline? What goals fell off the radar? Not just asking yourself those questions, but why, right? Why did your goals fall off the radar? Why didn't you accomplish some of the things you set out to? Be honest with yourself and don't be afraid to dig into the details. Only you can be real with you, right? So write it down, talk it out. Talk to a friend, whatever you can do to get to the nitty gritty of, where you're at, why didn't things work out? Why did they work out? Because we want to know what we need to improve on and what we need to keep doing. Maybe you had plans to launch a product or a service, but, life got in the way. Or you had plans to launch a content creation strategy and that fell off the rails, and that's okay. It just means maybe it wasn't the right time. But you can turn it around. So I want you to take a moment to reflect what went well and what didn't. Grab a journal, grab your notes, whatever it is, make some notes in your phone or on a piece of paper. I love when I'm being serious about life to write things down on paper. But you can also just, do a talk to text or talk into your phone, whatever it is. So take a moment to reflect, pause this episode, and come back to it for the next step. The key here is not to beat yourself up, but to learn from it. What goals fell off the radar and why? Understanding the why is powerful because it helps you avoid making the same mistakes again next time, right? And setbacks are normal because we can't plan for the unexpected. We can expect the unexpected, but we can't plan for it and when it happens, right? It's impossible. But setbacks don't define your success. If anything, they help you become a better entrepreneur by teaching you what works and what doesn't and where to shift your priorities. And when things don't go to plan, so you've taken inventory and realized that some things didn't go the way that you thought they would, then what do? This is where we need to talk about giving yourself grace. It's easy to get caught up in the idea that we have to be perfect and to be hard on ourselves to the point where it can cause us to shut down and give up. We do that. We have this idea that if we don't do it, it must have been our fault and we're just beating ourselves up. We trick ourselves into believing that everything has to be executed flawlessly, and if not, then we're failures. But that's not real life, and it's definitely not entrepreneurship. It's okay to give yourself permission to not be on 24/7. I have to remind myself of this all the time because when I have an off day, I still constantly pick up my computer and try to do work, and my body and my mind is literally telling me you need to rest. I can't think. I'm so foggy. I have to tell myself this all the time, that I don't need to be on 24/7, and you actually perform better when you give yourself some rest. Do the work to understand what went well and what didn't, and then give yourself the rest to process. Think about your next steps. The focus then should be on what you'll do next. But giving yourself a chance to reset will give you more clarity. I had a lot of setbacks this year, a lot of unexpected expenses, So for me personally, this year I had planned to maybe be ahead a little bit more financially so that I could work on the next big goal that I had in mind. But the setbacks that happened pushed my plans. I might not be able to work on those things until next year. Maybe not even next year. Maybe not even until the year after. I'm not sure. But setbacks happen a lot. You think that you're on the right track. You think things are going well. And then something comes up and totally derails that plan. I have setbacks all the time. One minute I think I've taken 10 steps forward. Life and my creative career pursuits are on track. Everything is in order. And then wham, it's like I get hit with all of the shit all at once. And I absolutely feel like giving up. But thankfully, I haven't given up yet. I hope that I never do. And I definitely owe it to the cheerleaders of my life, my loved ones, my friends, my family, who tell me, you're doing great, don't give up. And then I have to remind myself of that too, because we are our own biggest critics. And when things don't go the way we thought they would, we're the hardest on ourselves. But you have to remember that your business isn't defined by one rough quarter or one missed goal. It's about how you bounce back. And I joke a lot that I have enough character, right? I don't need any more character building. But the universe, God, whoever, has other plans. And I think that's why we go through what we go through, because it's building us and preparing us for something bigger that we're meant to do. And when I think about the alternative, doing something completely different, I know this is still my path because nothing else calls to me like this. It's just a really bumpy path sometimes. All right, I love action steps, and I want to give you some things that you can do to finish the year off strong. This is the fun part, the steps that you can take right now to finish the year off on the note that will make you feel good about going into the new year. So maybe you didn't launch the product that you wanted to launch, or you didn't put that service out there that you wanted to release, but now's the time to take action. So here are a few ways that you can end the year on a high note. Step number 1, launch or relaunch. If you've been sitting on a product or service, it's time to hit go, okay? It's time to release it into the world, even if it's just a mini launch plan for the next few weeks. It doesn't have to be perfect. You just want to get it out there. And getting it out there the way that it is now allows you to test whether or not it's going to work or not. You don't know unless you put it out there. And I promise you this, your product or the service you want to offer will never be perfect before you launch it. Launching it as it is allows you to perfect it over time. And this leads into step 2, surveying your audience. If you haven't connected with your audience in a while, or you don't have an audience, this is the time to put something out there so that you can survey your community, the network that you have, or the audience that you have if you've already started an email list. And they're going to give you valuable insights as you plan for next year, right? They're going to tell you if they want this product or service. They're going to tell you if they're interested. You can ask for more feedback on how to make it better. You have a chunk of time right now to get some really quality feedback so that you can start the new year off right. Step 3 is offering maybe a special promotion, especially as we enter the holidays. If you need to inject some quick cash flow into your business, you could consider offering a limited time promotion or a special deal to either re-engage your customers or find new ones. So there's 3 pretty quick and easy action steps that you can take right now. So you can launch or relaunch, and don't think about it as a huge thing. Think about it as a mini launch and something that you've already been preparing. You can survey your audience or your network, ask questions that will help prepare you for the new year, or you can offer a special promotion. Those are things you can do right now to make you feel like you haven't lost the momentum, or if you feel like you haven't done anything this year, this will get you inspired to go into the new year with confidence. All right, I don't know about you, but for me, setting small, manageable deadlines helps me avoid overwhelm, and it helps build momentum for me. When I'm checking my goals off, it sparks this fire in me, this creative passion, and pushes me toward the next thing on my list, right? It motivates me to keep going. So if you need to just get that one thing checked off to give you that momentum to start the new year off strong, get that one thing checked off, okay? It doesn't have to be huge. It just has to be something. All right, now we're planning for the new year. So as you take action to finish strong, you should also be laying the foundation for a successful new year. One of the best ways to do that, to set that foundation, is to plan right now. Think about the big goals that you want to achieve next year. Maybe it is doing a big launch or launching a big new product, or maybe it's increasing your content output. Whatever it is, now's the time to break it down. We know winging it doesn't work. We can wing it sometimes, but if we want big goals to come to fruition, we need to plan, okay? We need to take actionable steps to get there. So for your goal setting, pick 1 to 3 goals for the new year and then work backwards from there. So for example, if you wanted to launch a product or service in May, when do you need to start product development? When do you need to film content? When do you need to start talking to your audience about it? Mapping it out now helps you avoid scrambling later, and it helps you hold yourself accountable. If you have a timeline, you're more likely to stick to it. If you just say, oh, I'll get to it eventually, life will be lifing, okay? And it's going to be really hard to fit in the serious stuff in between all the unexpected things that will come up. If time management isn't your strongest skill, this is where you should focus. So ask yourself what you could realistically commit to. Could you commit to creating content maybe once a week? Could you block out some time on Saturdays to film? Or maybe you use Sundays to meal prep so that your week goes smoother, so you can film content maybe on a Wednesday. It's about finding small ways to build consistency, but you want to start that right now. When I think about content for the shop, I plan content well in advance, right? I want to build excitement. Depending on the type of product or service that it is, if it's something that you're launching as a pre-sale, then you want to start that well in advance, right? Because you need to give yourself time for people to take interest, go through that customer journey of researching and becoming familiar with what you're offering and then opting into it. And then maybe during that time, you're developing the product. Or maybe it's something that's a little bit more time sensitive or exclusive, and you can give yourself a shorter window. Only you know that, right? But planning it out is going to help the launch run a lot more smoothly. So once you've set your goals and you've broken them down and worked backwards, it's really about accountability at that point. How will you hold yourself accountable? Maybe it's an accountability partner or a business partner or a coach or a mentor or a community of like-minded people. Maybe it's blocking out time in your calendar for specific tasks, right? Get it in there now so it pops up, set those alerts. Whatever it is, make sure you stick to it. You can dream all you want, but if you want your dreams to become reality, you have to take action and show up for yourself and your goals. And I want you to think about realistic timelines. Give yourself deadlines, but don't overcommit. You don't want to set yourself up for failure. There's a balance between pushing yourself and then leaving room for that unexpected, because life will throw curveballs at you. You need to be prepared for that. I have to do the same thing when it comes to content creation. When it comes to this podcast, there are days when I don't feel like recording, but if I plan ahead and I start working on the episodes a week or two in advance, then I feel more comfortable going into the episode because I've prepared, but also I set time in my week to record. And I have to give myself 1, 2, or 3 options because not every day goes as I expect. And sometimes I just don't have the mental capacity. So I say, okay, I'm going to record on Tuesday. And then if Tuesday doesn't work, then I also have a slot scheduled on a Wednesday or a Thursday so that I can hold myself accountable and make sure that I get it done. The goal is to record every week and put out my podcast episodes every week. The only way I'm going to do that is if I hold myself accountable and schedule in that time. But I can't guarantee that I'm going to record and post an episode every week. I don't know what's going to come up. But the best that I can do is hold myself accountable. I really want you to remember that setbacks don't define your entire year. Your next steps do. I want you to think about how far you've come. If you're listening to this right now, then you're already curious, you're already motivated to build a better venture or a better business. So leave room for the unexpected, but stay committed to your plan. And with consistency and effort, you can make the rest of this year count and you can really set yourself up for a successful new year. But if you haven't gotten to where you wanted to be by now, it's okay. Maybe it's just not the right time, or you needed to do some more research, or you needed to switch up your routine a bit. Whatever it is, let's look forward and really dive into why it didn't work out this year so that you can make bigger strides next year. All right, so some final thoughts as we've talked about finishing the year strong. I know that some of you may feel overwhelmed, but you're thinking, where do I even start? How do I make sure my business is set up for the new year? And I get it. It's a lot to manage, especially when you're juggling everything on your own or you just don't know where to start. So I decided to offer a 3-day live workshop, and I'd love for you to join me. It's designed to save you time and energy, okay? I've done all this stuff and I just want to help you get there faster because I know how frustrating and time-consuming it can be to bring everything together and launch. Instead of going in circles and trying to figure out how to connect with your ideal customers, we're going to work together to develop your story, understand who your audience really is, who you really want to target and talk to, and craft that first wave of content to get your message across in the right way. Those are the 3 areas I find that creative businesses need help with the most, is developing the story, understanding who you're talking to, and crafting content. So we're going to do all of that in a 3-day, really intimate, small workshop. I want to keep it small so that I can give that personal attention. So there will be limited spots, but this will be a hands-on experience where you'll leave feeling a lot more confident with a plan that's tailored to you. So not just some cookie cutter strategy. This workshop is really for those who are ready to take their venture and their confidence to the next level. I want to help you get set up so that when the new year rolls around, you're already ahead of the game and not scrambling to figure it all out. But if you're not quite ready for that kind of a deep dive yet, and you just want a snapshot to get started, I'm also hosting a free webinar where we'll go over some of those first steps to building a feel-good business that's aligned with your vision. So a little bit more at a higher level. Whether you're ready to dive into the workshop or you just want to get your feet wet with the webinar, I've got something for you to help you out. You can save your spot at tawnyheipel.com or tawnyheipel.com/3-day bootcamp. Remember that setbacks happen, be prepared for them, but also give yourself grace and keep on going because your vision is calling to you for a reason. And like I've said before, the world needs your edge. It needs your uniqueness and it needs your perspective. Okay, people are looking for you. Whether you believe it or not, your people are out there. They're going to connect with you in the way that you tell your story, the way that you share your message, the way that you present your product or service. So keep going. Use the next 3 months to get set up for the new year and stay committed to yourself, most importantly. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that you feel inspired to finish this year strong. If you have any questions or just want to chat, you can always connect with me at Tawny Unlimited on Instagram or send me an email to info@tawnyheipel.com. Until next time.